Thanks, babe. That was delicious. Alright, I think it's time. I'm going to start working on the roof rack here. I want to do something that's simplistic and something that would match what you would find in the 90s. I've got these clamps, these BleepinJeep tube clamps. I think I'm going to use this one for the four corners. My option was that, or a smaller one, or this one, which is a 4 clamp, but that's way too big. My thought is to come up from here. I'm going to have it kind of shallow, close to the top, maybe within an inch or so, but then that's going to angle down at the corner. This is going to come across 90 here, and then go back over and angle down on that side as well. Then we'll need to come up with something for a light bar going across. That's 8 foot. You can use an angle finder, but it's probably just going to be about 45 degrees. So we'll go with that. When I built this bender years ago, I made it so that the height was exactly perfect with the welding table, because I knew if I was ever going to bend long tubes, I would have to have somewhere to put the other end. So that makes it nice. So I'm going to put this in here and start bending her up. I'm going to bend a 45 and then a 90 a little further down the line. Since we're building 2 of these, I need to get them both exactly the same. So the first mark I'm going to make is at 6 inches. That's where I'm going to put it in the die to start bending the tube at exactly 6 inches, 45 this direction. We're going to put this weld straight up so that we can identify the top of the tube for the next bend. To do that, your eyeball is enough, so just look down it, get that right on the top, and that's where we'll start. Alright, now I'm going to take that piece, lay it down here where it belongs. We need to figure out the height that we're going to have it off of the roof. I say about maybe 2 fingers. So we're going to mark that right here. That's where we're going to cut. And then that will get mounted to here. So if the plate needs to be there to cover the previous holes, and then this is going to get cut and mounted right in the middle of that plate, so right about there. Then if you come down to the other side, what we've got here is a template. Now you need to make these when you start bending tube, and basically what that's going to tell us is if we want a 90 degree and we want that to fall, let's say, an inch inside of the back end of that, then we're going to start our bend right here along that notch. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and we're going to make a mark right there. So we'll start the 90 degree bend there, and it'll go in this direction. So this time when you put your tube in there, put it up to your line, and instead of having the weld on the top, we're going to put the weld on the side, or we're just going to make sure that that is pointed straight down. Right about there, I think. And we'll tighten it up and make a 90 degree bend. Somehow, after all that, showing you how to do it, making the mark with the arrow, I still did it wrong. So what I did was I bent it this direction instead of this direction, which shortened the tube so much that it's not where I wanted it to be. So I'm going to put this camera down, bend these tubes without distraction, and I'll be right back. Okay, this is scary, but it has to be done. Now you can see that these two aren't exactly 90 degrees here and here. They seem to be about 89 degrees or so. So let's figure that out. The way I'll do that is zero my angle finder here. So zero that and then put it up here and see what I get. 87.9. So I need to go 2 more degrees with that. Zero, 90. All right, now that I've got both of those at 90, I can go ahead and mark this to be cut and spliced. So I'm going to cut it right there. We'll put a sleeve in the middle and then weld that together. You'll never know that there is a seam right there. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is make a little stand for the back of this to sit on. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap tube here. We're going to put it in our notcher and notch the edge so that it'll sit right in the corner. I cut these to be used as tie downs. I was thinking about putting them here, but then I realized that wouldn't work very well. So I think I'm going to put them at an angle like this, so you can put your hook through there and it'll operate like that. But then I was thinking, well, I've got 8 of these. How am I going to get them all at the same angle? So I think my plan is to take that tab, put it there as a guide, and then I'll slide this up till it hits and then tack that on one side. Then we'll make sure when we have all 3 of them going down, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3 on the other side. I want to make sure that they're all in a line so that if you're looking down from the side, you can't tell that they're maybe skewed like that or something. That is very, very close, if not perfect. Alright, check that out. That is the roof rack. Might do a couple modifications, but yeah, so we've got these little tabs to tie down to. We've got 3 on each side and then 2 on the back. I will probably put some lights up front, and then my dad does carry kayaks, so we're gonna have to figure out how to get a kayak on there over the lights. So that's going to be upcoming in the future, trying to figure that out. But I need to get that welded up. I'm not going to do that there, obviously, and I don't want to just do it on the floor, because you might think that this is a really heavy roof rack, but it's real thin material, and if you try to weld on that, like even welding these little tabs on, that's gonna bend that ever so slightly, and if I do that all the way around, it'll be in the shape of a banana. So what I want to do tomorrow with the help of Josh is put that on the welding table, clamp it down real good, and that way when I weld it, it doesn't move that much. So I'm gonna call it a night right there. It is dark outside and I am ready for bed. So we'll see you guys in just a second. Good morning. It's another beautiful day out here. We've got some clouds rolling in, but otherwise, weather is nice. Last night, I left a mess in here, so today, I gotta get this mess cleaned up. Josh is MIA, so I'm gonna have to get this rack on the welding table by myself. Josh, where are you? Let's check out our acid solution here. It didn't do a darn thing. I'm starting to wonder if the people of the internet are just full of lies. On a YouTube video, that worked perfectly, and within 24 hours it turned pure colorless, or white, or clear, whatever you want to call it. Maybe one of you guys will have a solution for me. But what's it gonna hurt? It's only gonna cost another $10 to add another one of these in there. We'll give it a shot. Okay, let's give this another shot and see if that makes any difference at all. So last night I told you I wanted to put lights up here, and I wanted to also be able to put 2 kayaks up here. So last night I was thinking, and I think I figured out how to do both. So for lights, we went with nothing but the best of the best. That's KC's. And if you remember the Back to the Future truck, the lights that we picked are going to look very similar to the Back to the Future Toyota truck. One generation later, of course. So I'm going to put 4 of these KC lights right up front on top of here. And instead of putting them into the fiberglass, which we are, but we're going to back that, I think, on the bottom with steel. Oh, look who decided to grace us with his presence. I've been running around all morning. We're going to put 4 lights up top here on the cap. We need to figure out where to set these. What I'm going to do is drill 4 holes, and then we'll back that with a steel piece on the underside, so it just looks like it's connected to the cap, but really it's braced from the underside with a steel piece underneath. What did you get?
Nothing I went for. I got a bunch of paintbrushes.
Man, those are cheap paintbrushes.
Yes, they are very cheap paintbrushes.
What are those, like 25 cents a piece, I hope?
These are 65 cents.
What is this? That looks old.
It's old, but it'll do the trick.
Did you find any material?
I can get material easily enough. What I couldn't find was the nozzle that goes on the end of it. So I had to order it. It'll be in tomorrow, and a new hose is coming.
Yeah, that hose looks a little...
That hose is done for.
A little cracked.
And it's got stuff in it. I don't know what's in it.
Sand?
Maybe sand.
Hopefully it's not all congealed in there, because if it is, how do you get it out?
It should be really dry, whatever's in there.
Well, it's been in Tennessee now. It's probably wet.
No, it's been sealed.
I got the roof rack finished last night. Think that'll work?
I think that'll work.
Oh yeah. I don't do math. I just do what does it look like. We're trying to get the spacing on how these lights should look. Something like so. So these will go on the bottom, on the underside as a bracing. But on this side, we're gonna have to modify it because there's like a bump out under there. It's kind of wedged. Okay, we've got this clamped down. Like I said yesterday, the reason you want to do this is to keep it from warping. Whenever you get it hot, it's going to start warping, especially on this really thin stuff. So we've got it clamped down real good so it won't move. And I'm just going to go around and finish weld this, and then we'll move on. Okay, here's the trick. Will it actually fit back in all the holes? Still a little warm yet. It needed some persuasion to begin with. That's a lot of persuasion. Alright, we'll just leave it like that. Just let it hang out there. Oh yeah. I've been hearing some knocking out here, and this is exactly what I thought. So, didn't I say something about how if you left things in Tennessee they would get wet?
What's worse is it was in Florida for a long time before that.
So every bit of that stuff inside there is wet and there's no way to open it up?
You're not supposed to get it wet inside. Somebody left the valve on.
Who was that?
I don't know, I've never used it.
Well, keep knocking that out of there. You'll be done by next week. It's the lunch lady!
Hey. Do you like my new hat?
Look at that. That is fancy.
It is a fancy hat.
Wow.
Just saying.
Does that make the food taste better too?
Well, duh. That goes without saying.
Oh, we got Italian food today.
See. I should have worn a mustache.
Are you hungry, puppy? Come on, let's go get some food. Come on. Is this chicken parm?
See.
Mmm. Look at that. It's gonna be delicious. Thanks, babe. That was delicious.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Alright, check out what came in the mail today. I told you we were waiting on this. So this isn't meant to go on permanently, but one of the things that my dad does often with this truck when he takes it out is he's taking the kayaks to the river, and he needs to be able to fit 2 kayaks on here, and we need to be able to put them up above these lights. So I want to make this rack, I just bought this off of Amazon, able to quick connect onto this rack and be able to come on and off pretty easily, but also be able to hold 2 kayaks up here on top of and without hitting the lights. Now how we're going to do that, that's the tricky question. But I'll try to get this put together. That's a lot of nuts and bolts. We'll figure something out. Alright, I think I've got it figured out. Let me show you what I came up with. The first thing that I wanted, though, was something that was quick and easy to attach. You know how some things are so hard to attach you end up never attaching them at all? So I wanted it to be quick, simple, not a lot of bolts, no bolts that were going to be falling off. In fact, if I could just use one nut and no bolts, that would be perfect. So that's what I came up with. I also wanted to be able to carry 2 kayaks on here, of course, and I wanted it to be easy and accessible. And I didn't want to add anything to the current roof rack. I didn't want to add any brackets or weld onto this more. I wanted to keep this current setup clean and simple. So here's what I did. I realized that this needs to be outboard to keep away from the lights and to keep the kayak off of this bar. So I wanted to mount to this little piece right here. So I started out with some flat bar. So I took a piece of flat bar, I drilled a hole in it, and then I put it on a template that I custom made that looks exactly like this roof rack. I then heated up the flat bar and I bent it around and over so that it would be level whenever it is sitting up here on the roof rack. Then I took the factory brackets from the kayak rack and I welded it to the remainder of that little bracket that I made. And then through that hole that I drilled in the bracket, I welded a bolt through there so you didn't even have to fool with a bolt. That made it sound so simple, but it wasn't quite that simple. But this is what I came up with, is this bracket right here. So this bracket is going to get bolted to this, just like so, and you won't have to take these bolts on and off. Those will be permanent. So you'll have this piece right here, and what you're going to do with that is slip it over. As you tilt it up, the bolt is going to stick through there, and I should have a nut here somewhere. So you're going to put a washer and a nut. So all you'll need to do is tighten down one nut. So 4 nuts total, and you'll be able to carry 2 kayaks. I'm too impatient to let paint dry. I want to see what the kayak looks like up on here, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So let me get this situated. We'll show you what it looks like. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna look even better up on the truck. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys. In our next video, we are going to take the axles over to Red Scorpion and have them finished up. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, destroy that algorithm by leaving us a thumbs up and leaving us a comment. Also, if you really enjoy our content, please consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/BleepinJeep or a YouTube member, because both of those you get early access to our videos. You get a lot of inside information, behind the scenes, and perks as well. So, until next time, we will see you guys in the next video. Check out our Patreons right over there. Those guys are awesome.